Aloha, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of 22 and You with myself, Neil, Molokai Mystic, and my sidekick.
Nick with my angels.
And today we are talking about a topic that is very near and dear to our lovely Nick's heart. And what we're going to be doing is expressing a topic that doesn't get enough media for some reason. Hi, Brandy. So we are going to use our platform to share the love and light to the world. So, Nick, you have, like I said, a very special connection to this topic. You want to let people know what we're going to be doing today?
Yes, something that a lot of people don't know is my country of origin. And the reason people don't know that is because I kept it secret, and I kept it secret for many different reasons. Because of my past, and I had to change my name, and I don't want to go into these details. I'm not ready yet to go into these details. But I am, at least like as a first step, I can say that I'm originally from Lebanon. And I went through a phase when I first arrived to Canada, a phase of anger towards my country because I have gone through a lot in that country. And at first you have like a phase where when you love someone or something too much and you get hurt, you have this phase of anger when you need to let go. So it was normal. I had this phase. It was easier for me to get angry and to be able to cut ties because if I had to stay connected, the grief period would have been so hard. So I had to go through this phase of anger. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know what's going on there. I want to know nothing about this country anymore. I totally disconnected with this country because it was easier for
Mhm.
me to adapt to a new country, to a new life. Now I am more able to reconnect because I am healing, I am better, I'm doing okay, I'm more myself. So now I am more ready to reconnect with my roots and with my country of origin and still being totally well and adapted and happy in Canada. Like I consider Canada now my country number one without denying my roots as a Lebanese. So
Um,
so
I
today,
totally get that in regards to, you know, when we have to release something that no longer serves us, sometimes when we love so deeply, it is easier to go through that anger stage.
yeah,
I even with any type of grief, like with my auntie, when she transitioned, I was so mad at her. Every time she would come through, I'm like, no, we had an agreement. We were supposed to go together. And so I allowed that anger to give me that sacred pause so that I could heal and release
yeah,
that pain more gently for myself by allowing myself, because I needed to be mad at something
mhm,
just to make the transitioning period easier for me.
yeah,
And then eventually she was able to come through. I mean, thankfully she didn't go anywhere. She's still here with me. She still kept trying, but and it's like your birth, where you were born, it's not going anywhere. It's still there. It waited for you to say, yes, I can still love you. I can still honor where I'm from. So,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you, Diana. It's like a birthday, It's like a birthday, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, so today our topic, I decided to introduce you to my country of origin, to say openly where I am coming from. I have been in Canada for almost 10 years. It will be 10 years on August 2nd. And every year on August 2nd, I celebrate. I celebrate my new life in Canada because Canada is a country that welcomed me and my children. Like without this, I would certainly not be alive. So I love Canada with all my heart, and but I realized that loving my new life doesn't mean I need to reject my birth country. And today I decided to that I'm ready. I'm ready to say where I'm coming from and to introduce everyone to my country and to discover what people know about this tiny little country in the Middle East.
I tell you what, though, I don't know a place on this planet that you could have been born in and or ended up at that would that could make me love you more or less than I already do. So,
Thank you.
I'm just glad you were born. So,
Thank you.
so this is going to be an interactive show, guys. So get ready to start typing because Nick has some questions that she's brought forth, and she will share the answers from her perspective. And but she kind of wanted to see where you guys were at with these questions. So when you're ready, Nick, let me know, and I'll throw up some questions.
I'm ready. Let's go with the first question.
Alrighty,
Yeah,
here we go.
it's very interesting for me to see what people abroad know about my country because I have experienced a lot of, like, I met people who never heard about Lebanon. I met people who heard about Lebanon, but like, I recently met someone who asked me, "Oh, you have cars in Lebanon. I thought you were on camels." Like,
Hmm.
I'm not judging, but I find it interesting. I
People
really
still
find it
think
interesting.
Hawaii people live in grass shacks, even
Yeah,
though we have a big tourism, but they can still go to the level of are there grass shacks?
yeah,
Are I mean, and grass skirts,
I
and
understand. I understand. Same thing. People ask me, how come you're from Lebanon and you're Catholic? It doesn't make sense. Well, Lebanon is majority of Catholic, you know, like there is a lot of um, false beliefs, false ideas about the country. So I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing what people know. So yes, Kate. Yes, Kate. Capital is Beirut. Absolutely.
okay, I am on the banner section for the questions, but let me jump over to the comments and see what people are.
So the first question, yes, what do you know of Lebanon? I would like to know. What do you know? So Kate said the capital is Beirut. Lebanon is a very rich country. Akko, I would like you to say it's a very rich country in a certain way, but what do you exactly know about this? Like, rich in what way? Hello,
Ooh,
Jocelyn.
so she's talking specific, guys. I tell you what, I didn't know anything. I'm gonna be straight honest. I don't see it in any documentaries. I didn't see it on the news. I just thought it was a cool name. I mean, I didn't have any preconceived ideas of the country at all. Um, I was very intrigued to learn more as I got to know you because I enjoy you. So I'm like, okay, what stemmed from this, and then it was like, tell me more,
Yeah.
um, I was intrigued in regards to the the common language that is spoken in all of the different regions, but yet it's all connected. But then there's different. I mean, that blew my mind. I was like, that is cool. So you guys each have your own, and then at the same time, there is one that so everybody can communicate. So
Yeah.
I thought it was just intriguing. I just loved learning about it because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know anything. I just knew it was a beautiful name. And I don't even know what the name means, but I always just, I don't, I don't look at the structure of different countries. I look at the individuals that I meet, and then I want to get to know them, you know? So I'm a little weird like that.
So Lebanon is a very, very small country, like really small country, and the whole country is 10,000 kilometers.
That's a
And
foreign language to me right there. I
yeah,
don't know what kilometers are.
10,000 kilometers in miles is like 6,000 miles, about 6,000 miles, the whole country. Um, and like you can go by car, do the whole country in maybe 2, 3 hours, drive the whole country.
Wow.
Yeah. And the whole population is about 4 million people. That's the whole population of the country. And we have only two countries at the borders: Israel, that is considered by the government as the enemy, so we have no borders properly, we don't connect, and Syria. We have the beach, the Mediterranean. And one particularity is the beauty of the nature in Lebanon. It's amazing. We have amazing, amazing sites. Unfortunately, it is not maintained. We don't have any, like, you know how in other countries they take care of the land so that people can go and visit and explore. Unfortunately, we have, for example, the column of Baalbek. It's one of the major sites. It's in the most well known. If you Google the columns of Baalbek, it's one of the major sites in the world. But you go there, you feel sorry. It's full of trash. It's all garbage. You cannot, you can hardly access it because it's not maintained. No one takes care of the site. Whereas if it was in another country, they would take care of it. They would make it a proper place where tourists would like to go and visit. So the country, when Akko said it's a country full of resources, yes, it's a country that could be full of resources if they were investing to take care of the country so that it produces to serve the country. Unfortunately, it's not the case.
And then
So
I saw Aura's comment. I think that it is predominantly Islamic.
um, the country is, I mean, at the beginning, it was predominantly Christian, and the majority of the population was Christian, and the president is Christian by how do we call it? The law of the government. Is it called the constitution? By
Oh, okay.
by constitution, the president is Christian, but because of the war, all the Christians emigrated. So now it's a majority of Muslims in the country, but the country is still considered a Christian country for now. But as a population, because the Christian emigrated, now they are a majority. But the country is not considered as a Muslim country. So,
Interesting.
yeah, we have in this small country, we have 18 religion, and the 18 are represented in the government.
Oh, so if you're going to run, so you there has to be a this, there has to be a
Yes,
that, there has.
yes, it's in the
Ah,
constitution. In the constitution, every like it's nominated like uh, every role has to be a specific religion. It's in the constitution.
oh,
It's
interesting. So they
determined,
get everybody's
is
input.
represented.
That's great.
Yes and no. Yes
Oh.
and no, because sometimes you have people more qualified than others, but they don't. They are not from the religion.
Okay,
So
yeah, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah.
Okay. Um, so I do you want to go to the next question or do you want to look at some of these answers and respond?
I let me just. Yeah, you can go to the next, and I will continue to add because I noticed that no one mentioned the war.
Hmm.
So the second question goes a little bit like complete the first question. And the war started in Lebanon when I was 7 years old in 1975. It was April 13, 19. Oh, you did, Antonio. I didn't notice. Sorry. So it started, yes, on April 13, 1975. I remember that day as if it was yesterday. I remember it exactly, like the details of the day it started, I still remember. And I have so many memories of the war. And we had few times of um like I can call them like break or ceasefires,
A
but
calm, a
of
calm in the
calm,
storm.
yes, but it never really stopped. It never really stopped. So it's still going on until now.
So
The thing is,
you are a child of war.
I am, I am a child of war, and all my generation is, and I would consider even my kids children of war. They lived the war. My kids know the war, and I know the war. I'm a survivor of terrorist attacks. I'm a survivor of the war. And when we say like people say that like the war lasted 15 years, true. The war that started in 75 lasted 15 years, but the next year a new one started. And when I say a new one, it's because that conflict was between the Lebanese and the Palestinian, but then the Syrians came to save us from the Palestinian, but they started a war with us. And then the Lebanese among themselves didn't want the Syrians to be there anymore, so they wanted to kick the Syrians out, but then they started to argue among themselves like we did the job. No, we did the job. So they started fighting among themselves who did the job, you know?
Hmm.
So like yeah, the conflict changed, but it's still a conflict and it's still going on until today. It never stopped. So for me, I don't care who is fighting who, the fight is going on. In 2006, for example, in 2004, it was a quiet time, and we encouraged my sister, who is here in Canada because she's married a Canadian from Quebec, and we encouraged them like everything is fine, everything is quiet. You can come, you can come, you can come with your children. They arrived to Canada to Lebanon to spend vacation with us. The day they arrived, the war started. 3 days after they arrived, it was awful, an evacuation, and they were evacuated by boat to Cyprus and then from Cyprus back to Canada. It was horrible, awful. I mean, the whole country, every country of the world had to evacuate people from Lebanon. So that's the status of the
But it's
country.
very, even in a calm, there's there's no guarantee that tomorrow there won't be chaos,
Yeah, yeah,
and that takes it takes a lot of self commitment to live and enjoy each and every day to the fullest.
yeah,
So I believe Lebanon people are very, very strong people.
yeah. Diana, I saw your question about the women. I will get to that.
Okay, next question. And she is reading you guys' comments, so that's why I'm asking her when she wants me to move into the next question.
So, yeah, where did you get this info from? For those do know, who do know about Lebanon or who did hear about the war, and I didn't see mu- uh, any comment about that, so we won't get a lot into that. So I just wanted to say, from my perspective as a child of Lebanon, when I was a child there, that don't trust everything you hear in the media, because every country only tells what is like what they want to express from their own perspective and what serves them. It was very, from our perspective in Lebanon, it was very frustrating to see what the media is expressing about us while we are living it. Like we know what we are going through and we hear what the media is telling about us, and we're like, what?
Mm.
We're there. We know what's going on. We know what we are going through. So that's the only thing I wanted to say. And I'm not talking about us only, I'm talking as a general rule, as a general advice. When you hear about something going on in another country, try to find anyone in that country, even if it's a total stranger. Reach out to a total stranger on Facebook and ask, what is going on? Do you want to tell me? Because you will get something totally different from what the media is telling you.
No,
Unfortunately, they
I
have
don't
hidden.
know if you want to share how you used to make your way to school.
I can give you an example how, I mean, I don't know how I made it to a master in university because my school years were sometimes nothing, sometimes I did 1 or 2 months of school per year. That's it. And I would still get to the next class. And the way we would go to school, we had to cross a street and go. I mean, the street we had to cross. I had to cross two streets, and these two streets were exposed to the sniper. So we were taught by the army how to cross the street because we needed to avoid the snipers, and we were kids. So we had to make 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 step forward, 1 step back to to disturb the sniper.
Be a moving target.
Yeah, and the way we do it, like the 2 step forward had to be in 2 different directions, one, like 1, 2, back, then 1, 2, back, then 1, 2, back, until we crossed the street. And that was every day, every day, every day. And the bullets would like ping, ping in front of us, and we kept going. Yay, we made it. That's that's our daily thing, you know? It's like, yeah.
You're a superhero. Okay, so next question.
So, yeah. What do you know about Lebanese people?
I know I'm in love with one. No.
Yeah. Do you what do you know about Lebanese people?
um, I know they can cook. I
Yeah,
know that they are very family oriented. Um, I know that via the stories you told me about your mom, I know that they like music and to sing. Um, I know that they are adaptable and love life to the fullest. And and this is just my personal experience with knowing you now. Had I not met you, I wouldn't know because I'm not the type of person that says, "Where are you from?" I'm not the type of person that gets to know somebody's culture
yeah,
until I get to know them, and then what they share about themselves is what brings that information into for me. I know that there are other cultures that like where you from and what your religion are like two main questions that are asked when meeting someone, but I'm kind of backwards. I want to get to know the individual
before,
and then their culture, their history, where they're from, all of that
yeah,
eventually comes to light. But I'm the type of person that wants to get to know the individual first.
yeah,
Like when I met you, I fell in love with your accent. I had no idea what kind of accent this is, but I just want to hear you talk. I mean, um, and I don't think I asked you where you were from. I think it just came out in our conversation, you know. Um, but I love the diversity in the people that I meet, and for me, it's just part of who they are. I don't categorize cultures and countries and stuff like that. I fall in love with the person.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So, what do I know about the Lebanese people as a whole? If I was to take you as an example of what I know about Lebanese people, um, I would be like, they're survivors, they're heroes, they are the light in the darkness. It's like they can bring out a heart space in somebody that maybe needs that light in the darkness because they know how. They
Yeah,
know what it's like, you know. Um, they are like living examples of being in the moment, you know. So anyway,
Thank you, Ryan. And Aura said also something very true. They are resilient. This is one of the strongest characteristics of a Lebanese: resilience. That is like the resilience of a Lebanese is legendary. They never give up. They never, never, never give up. Carrie, yes, I did have nightmares. Absolutely. So, what to say about the Lebanese people? We are very adaptable. Uh, I will give examples, and I mean, I hope no one takes it wrong. I don't mean it in any judgmental way, okay? But I will say it just because to express like a little bit of what we went through as a people in Lebanon. When COVID happened and people got restricted in a way, they were confined and had to stay at home. They had to wear a mask. They had to stop going to restaurants. They had to, like, they had some restrictions. They were angry. They were mad. And I'm talking specifically the young generation. I'm talking teenagers, people in their 20s, upset, angry that they couldn't go to bars, they couldn't party, they couldn't meet with friends. And again, I'm not judging them, I'm not criticizing them. But inside of me, I was thinking, what would you do if you spent all your childhood, your teenage years, and your youngest year in the shelter? Like sometimes we didn't know, we didn't see the light for days. Sometimes all we could get to eat is plain bread. Sometimes even this, we couldn't access it because you cannot get out of the shelter. Sometimes, like, sometimes you spend weeks with no electricity. And until today, when you have electricity, it's 3 to 4 hours per 24 hours. This is until today. That's how much we have electricity in Lebanon. And here, if you lose electricity for 3 hours, it's catastrophic. Um, like, you know, a lot of things that people take for granted, we don't. We don't because we lived the lack of it. Now, for a Lebanese, when they get electricity, they say, Yay! When they lose it, it's like, okay, you know? But when they get it, they celebrate it. It's the opposite. We live the opposite of the rest of the world. We celebrate the things that everyone takes for granted. And I find this amazing in a way. It shouldn't be like this, maybe, but I find it amazing because we learn to celebrate. We learn to celebrate everything in life. And I am, it's especially during COVID time that I realized how much how how much I learned from my childhood not to take anything for granted compared to today's generation.
Well, you also learned how to shuffle a deck really good. Because um, when you're shuffling the deck, it's like it's just part of who you are because of how many times you played cards
Oh
in the
yeah,
shuffle,
yeah.
you know?
That's all we could do. I mean, we would light a candle and play cards at the candlelight. I used to study and read books with candlelight. That's how we lived. Like
Yeah. And now here we have kids that throw tantrums if you take away their
internet.
electronic anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, could you imagine having an experiment where all the kids of today that have never experienced anything like that had to stay in their room and play cards by candlelight? In their room, in their comfortable space, and play cards by candlelight for an hour.
Hmm.
Oh man, we would have so many mad kids at us. We would be torturing. They would be calling CPS on us um, because they had to play cards in their room today. What? No Xbox? You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, learning the hard way to really celebrate the things that we have at our access
Hmm.
all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that.
Now,
Celebrating, not just appreciating, but celebrating the fact that you have it for however long you have it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so that's cool. That's cool. Um,
Diana asked the question about the women's situation in Lebanon. It's not good, Diana. It's not good. I mean, there are some good sides and some very bad ones. Like, for example, if you talk about the education side, uh, in the last few generations, it's very good. The education, like most women um, who are, let's say, 60 and younger, are educated now. But a lot of the older than that, especially if they are in coming from villages, you would find non-educated. Like I have an auntie in her 70s, for example, now she's illiterate because in the village, the women, like you wouldn't teach a woman to even write her name. And when I used to ask my grandmother, Grandma, why can't you write? And why didn't you allow your daughter to go to school to learn how to write and read? And she would say, no, girls don't learn to write and read because if they do, they might write letter to boys. Well, that's the
oh,
only reason. What if she writes a letter to a boy? Like,
so the girls are meant to be kept pure in all ways, even in the possibility that they might think about writing a letter to a boy.
yes,
That would be taboo. That
yeah.
would be something that. Um, okay.
And in villages also, the girl doesn't really have a say. Like my grandmother, my aunties got married about my grandmother about the age of 14, my aunties 16, 17, and I mean, sort of arranged marriages, you know. It's not, there is a certain freedom now, but it's not like, I mean, you don't really date and go out with the person and meet with the person. You can choose, but you choose based on what you know of the person. Like you heard or you saw this guy and you see that he looks nice, he looks good. You heard that he has a good situation, he has a good job, people tell you about him that he's nice, so you agree that he gets introduced to you. So he comes and he asks your parents. This is in the village, because there is a big difference between the village and the city. But the city is this small, and all the rest of the country is village, you know.
Ah,
So he comes to your parents and he says, I would like to meet your girl. So you get engaged directly without meeting you. So you get engaged, and then,
parents give permission for him
yes,
to be engaged to you
yes,
because you found him interesting by what you heard.
yes.
Okay.
And then he comes at home, and there are meetings supervised by the parents at home. And then you get married, you know? So, sort of.
So there's no like uh, matchmaker in the village.
It
In
happens. It
like
happens
no,
a
I mean
lot.
like a certain person that parents would go to and say, "I have a daughter. Who do
No,
they
I
marry?"
mean, it happens in certain communities, but
Mm.
certain communities, not a lot. But in Beirut, in the city, there is a lot of freedom, a lot. And young girls date and they go out and they party.
So they can have dates without being engaged to the guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Ah, okay.
Yes. It's totally different kind of life.
Okay, so question,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, if this guy comes to the house and he asks my parents, um, says that he wants to be engaged, whatever, and I go out with him, and
You
I'm
don't go
like,
out. He comes to your home.
oh,
You,
oh,
you, you don't go out.
okay, so there's these,
Unless you're supervised by your brother. He goes out with you, you know.
okay, but so prior to the marriage, if I say this isn't working, do I have a say?
Well, it depends. It depends. If the parents like him,
Oh, then it's,
I mean, it depends. It depends also on the money situation. It depends on how open your parents are. It depends on a
but
lot.
it is possible.
It is possible, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now, what happens if my parents are open to the fact that this person that I'm now engaged to, I'm not going to be happy with them, and they say, okay, we're not going to continue with this. Now, am I blackballed from being engaged to another person now
They
because I
they
experienced?
automatically they will automatically they it's one of the, I mean, it's not a real condition, but you're bound to find someone quick. Otherwise, you will be, people will start talking, oh, something must be wrong with her, you know?
Okay,
So
okay.
you need to find someone fast before people start talking.
So don't break up with your engaged guy unless you have another one lined
Yeah.
up.
Find a substitute fast.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
On
But
another
it,
hand,
but at least it's possible.
yeah. On another hand, there is one particular situation that is very bad for women there, and it is the case of domestic violence. This particular case, women are not protected at all. There is absolutely nothing to protect women in this case. Recently, in the last 15 years, an organization has started to protect women from domestic violence, and they are doing a good job. And but the thing is, because of the Lebanese law, what they can do is to protect the women, but without protecting the children. So a woman who goes to them, they tell her, okay, we can hide you on a condition. You sign that you let go of your kids and you promise never to try contacting them or getting to see them or having anything to do with them. So
All
who
of them, even the girls.
all of them, all of them. So if you accept to sign such a document, they shelter you. If you refuse to sign such a document, you have no way to be protected. Even if you go to the police, what the police does is contact your abuser and say, come take her from here.
And then you're going to be in more trouble when you get home.
Absolutely. No one, no one will protect you. No one. And we had a situation last year, for example. The abuser killed his wife and they were divorced. And she had custody over the kids because of the abuse. And and because the kids were too small, and he killed her, but he didn't go to jail, and they gave him the kids instead of, and the kids were raised by her parents. They took them away from her parents and gave them to the guy. There is nothing to protect the woman or the children. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So this is very sad.
Well, you'll send Mother Mary, all of the angels and saints to protect those mothers who choose to not sign that paper and stay with their children.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Trisha, do men have more than one wife in Lebanon? Yes. For the Muslims in Lebanon, they have the right to four wives.
So only for the Muslims.
Yeah, only.
Interesting.
Because there is no civil marriage in Lebanon. It's not allowed. It's only religious marriage, and in their religion, it's allowed. So since there is only religious marriage, in the Catholic marriage it's not allowed, so it's not allowed for us. In
Hmm.
their religion it's allowed. So
So then the next question was, did you meet any, or do you have any Lebanese friends? I
I
do.
guess I guess now you do.
I think we all do, right, guys? I would say that would be a yes all the way down the comment stream. Um, and then the next one was, what do you know about the character of the Lebanese people?
I
I
think we
think he
addressed it.
covered, yeah, I think he covered that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one. Do you know what is going on in Lebanon in the last 2 years? Well, sadly, I do. I mean, if I if I had money, you know, I know where I would donate it. You know,
Yeah. What's going on in Lebanon in the last 2 years is a devaluation of the Lebanese currency, uh, an economic crisis, and to explain it in plain, like, I will just give a simple example. The Lebanese pound, like $1 2 years ago, was equal 1,500 Lebanese pounds. So $1 was equal 1,500 Lebanese pounds. Now, 1 US dollar is equal 35,000 Lebanese pounds. So when you compare that, and people are getting their salaries in Lebanese pound, but everything they spend, everything they have to, all the food, all the gas for the car, everything is imported. So they have to pay it in US dollars because it's not produced in Lebanon. The medication, the everything. So people, their income, their monthly income now is about 70, $80 a month. And they have to live with their whole family with that amount and pay the bills, the rent, the cars, the food, the doctors, everything with this amount.
Do you expect that to get worse?
Sorry,
Do you expect that to change for the good or bad? Or,
I don't think so. I don't think so. They are talking of the country declaring bankruptcy. I don't know what that means,
hmm.
uh, but I really don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well, here's a funner question, you guys. Can you name some of the celebrities that are of Lebanese origin? Well,
Yeah, let's see who knows.
I know there's very famous doctors and authors and very intelligent people that have ranked very high in universities, professors. Uh, gosh, the people that come from that origin are so super smart. I mean, you guys hear me brag about how smart Nikki is, and she's famous in her own right. So I will say I know a, celebrity.
Oh, that is someone I don't know. Hmm. Thank you, Lori. Who else? Let's see. Who do you know of Lebanese origins? I will help you. I will guide you. There are two famous designers, very famous.
Yeah, but I'm not into fashion. I have an excuse, you guys. I'm a tomboy.
You don't know?
I
Have
know.
you heard, for example, of Elisab?
Is that
No?
is that clothes design?
Elisab.
Yes, I have. Ah.
Have you heard of also designer?
Okay, I don't know that one.
Okay. Another, an actor. Have you heard of Shakira? Have you heard of the singer Mika? Have you heard of Khalil Gibran,
Of course,
the author of The Prophet?
of course, my favoriteest
Yes,
author
Shakira.
in the whole wide world.
Have you heard of Paul Anka, the
What is?
singer?
Ah, no, I don't think so.
It's a singer from the 60s.
Okay, I probably have. Yeah, yeah.
So yes, there
Oh,
are a lot
yeah,
of,
I have.
yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of celebrities from Lebanon. That's it.
Speaking of celebrities,
Yes, that's where we're heading.
absolutely, yeah. Hit song Diana. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So go ahead, head there, head there.
Okay. I don't know if any of you watches AGT, America's Got Talent.
I do, I do.
I do watch America's Got Talent. It's one of my favorite shows.
That's just because you got a crush on Simon Cowell.
Yeah, I do have a crush on Simon Cowell. That's that's true.
She loves him more than she loves me. I don't get it.
The same, the same. And the reason I decided today to speak up about Lebanon is because my heart is this big, full of pride for Lebanon because of yesterday, the Mayas. The Mayas is a Lebanese group of dancers from Lebanon. They show up, they dance in AGT yesterday night. I they made me proud. They made me cry. They made me remember how great it feels to be Lebanese. They made me think that despite everything they are going through, they know how to find joy. Despite people dying of hunger, it's been 2 years, people are dying of hunger there. They find a way to still laugh, to dance, to live every day as if it was their last day. And they made it. And this is how I made it for all the time I spent there. And
Can I ask you to share something?
yes,
I mean, it's totally up to you.
yes,
But
sure.
you told me a story earlier today
Yeah. Which one?
about the laughter that was taking place while the bombing was right outside the doors.
Yeah.
I, I
Uh,
don't, I don't, I don't want to pressure you, but overall, you know, this is this is what got you guys through that. You know,
okay. Okay. I shared with Neil a story this morning about, I gave her an example of how we are. I told her it was in, I think it was 82, the year 82. I'm not sure about the year, but around in the 80s. And we were in the shelter, and the apartment we used to live in is the apartment my auntie lived in before she emigrated to Canada. My auntie emigrated to Canada in the 80s. So she knew all the neighbors. And one day she called, and we used to, it was landline phones at the time. We didn't have cell phones, of course. So we had an extended line for the phone so that we could reach into the shelter with the phone. Anyway, she called from Canada to check on us. She didn't know we were in the shelter that day. So Dad answered from the shelter, and all the neighbors were around. And he answered the phone, and she said, "Hey, how are you all?" And he said, "Oh, we're great." And she said, "Why is there is a lot of noise around you?" And he said, "Because all the neighbors are around. We're all gathering here. We're all together. We're all in the shelter together. They all saying hello. Everyone, this is, um, your neighbor. She's saying hello." And we were all laughing and having fun. And she said, "Oh, how come you're in the shelter? Is it not going well? He said, no, there are bombings. And she said, how close? Oh, quite close. Like, she said, like, how much quite close? He said, like, in the street. Really? Like, in the street where you're living? He said, yes. And she said, did anything hit, like, really close? He said, yeah, we had a rocket in the house. And it was real. Like, she said, in the house? Yes. And one in my car. My car burned. Like my dad's car, we had a rocket inside it. And it burned like a few hours before the phone call. And some other rockets, like all the street was crippled. And we were laughing and talking to her. And she thought we were joking. And she said, like, this is not a good joke. And the next day she
Really
said,
warped sense of humor.
yeah, yeah. And the next day she was like, she really thought we were joking until she saw pictures. She couldn't understand like how we could be laughing and talking and discussing, but what could we do?
But you
This
guys were
is
together. You
this is
guys,
our
he was
daily life.
celebrating.
Yeah,
Yeah. He was
we were
celebrating.
alive.
Yeah. You guys were alive and you were together. And yeah, the house has a rocket and my car is on fire, but we're together. I mean, if that was not a living example of resilience and loving the important things in life, you know, I'm I just love that, you know. So okay, sorry. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you for introducing all of us to Lebanon, you know, and to really get to see from your eyes and your heart's journey and your life's learning, you know, experiences. And Nikki's going to share something with us, and we're going to leave you with that. And so, do you want to, at the end of it, we'll just close and end at that point.
Yeah.
Okay?
Uh, I would love you to watch this video. This happened yesterday night. Yesterday night on AGT. So hope you'll enjoy it.
I'm going to mute.
Since you're
It's
kids
not
grew up
sharing.
on stage together, then he
It's
started
not
Maya
sharing.
as a choreographer. He brought new style and technique and dancing to Lebanon.
What did you
It's
say?
it's not sharing screen.
Oh,
Only sound.
oh, okay. Uh,
Yeah, she's working on it.
and now?
I don't see it. It's not being brought up into the live stream. Ah, voila. There it is. Take two. Just going to take that in for a minute. Whew. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for being you. Um, and thank you to all those beautiful Lebanese women out there. It is this that we're going to leave you with, guys. And it's aloha from me. As I say, as always, we shine brighter.
Together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, me. Love you.
Okay.